Hello, good evening everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's that time of week again. It's gone by very fast for me actually. It's been a busy, crazy week, but I have a feeling this week's going to go nice and smoothly, which is awesome. So tonight I am making Shanghai style wontons, which my mum used to make me when I was growing up. Something my kids love as well. So it's one of the staples in my freezer, which I make bulk of, and you know, on a busy day you can have dinner ready within 10 minutes. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and just use my little processor thing here because I can't be bothered hand chopping everything. You don't have to, you can just use a knife or use a big food processor if you've got one of those, or a Thermomix, which I have no idea how to use, so you might have to hit Ash up from A Conscious Jungle for some tips on the Thermomix and how this might work in that scenario. So what I'm going to start with is just some garlic. I've managed to peel some, but I might just throw a little bit more in there. So I've actually got some pork mince today. And this is pork mince from Moreland's Meats in Warragul. They're on Smith Street. And they butcher their own pork, so they do have the pork mince frozen, as it's usually not displayed in the window. So you can go in and ask for it. Otherwise, you can get pork mince from your local supermarkets as well if you want to use pork, but you can substitute it with any type of ground meat at all. So you can use chicken. Lamb is actually uniquely nice in a lot of Chinese cooking. It's more of a protein used from the northern areas in China rather than the eastern where my mum grew up. So yeah, lamb is actually really quite nice as well in wontons and dumplings and buns, bowl and that sort of stuff. So anyway, so we've got the pork mince. There's just a kilo there, so I'm going to do a decent batch today, just so I've got a nice supply in the freezer. And I'll show you how to wrap them and everything. And once you have your wontons made, you basically want to pop them in the freezer on a tray, just single file, not touching at all, because otherwise they'll stick, and we don't want the wontons to stick to each other. Once they've been completely frozen, you can then bag them up, pop them in a container, however you like to store them. So I don't know, I reckon I've got maybe almost a whole head of garlic here. I love a lot of garlic in mine, and you know what, it's going in raw, and that's just how I like it. But if you did want to, say, pour a little bit of hot oil on it, that can bring out a lot of fragrance as well and make it taste quite nice. That is definitely another option for you. So at this point, I am just going to blend it all up. Just excuse the noise for a minute. So much quicker than chopping this by hand. So this will take a couple of goes to get everything out. You know what, I reckon I might need a bigger mixing bowl just looking at this. Bear with me a sec. Sometimes I forget how much I end up making, and I don't know if anyone follows me on Instagram at all, but you will often see me with a giant salad or a giant bowl of fried rice or something like that. I have giant bowls. I tend to cook a fair bit of volume, mostly for my clients and that sort of thing. And I'm very happy to report I just emailed off my menu to my regular personal cooking clients today. So I'm getting back into it after the whole, you know, COVID thing and isolation and homeschooling, and then my cat passing on, and it was just one thing after the other. So it's been a few months and I'm finally getting back into the personal cooking side of work, which is really lovely. I can't wait. Whoops. Low budget. It's that that Glen 20 can that my phone is sticking to. And you're on top of my my butter keeper thing and a big tub of flour. Oh, fun times. Anyway, there was just one piece of garlic which didn't quite blitz up very well, so I'll give that a chop. To this, I've also got a little bit of ginger. And it's funny because growing up in a Chinese household, I hated ginger. Mum put ginger in everything and I hated it. So I never really cooked much with it as an adult, but I've just started to appreciate the flavours of ginger a little bit more. So I'm just going to simply grate a little bit into here. Not a lot, just a little bit. But you can, if you love ginger, pop as much of it as you want into it. I still find the flavour can be quite strong. I don't bother peeling it or anything, just grate it straight in. And I'm going to save the rest of this ginger for some stock or something like that. So there wasn't too much there really, but just enough to give it a little hint of ginger flavour. And my mum always used to say how ginger was so good for you. It's got all these health benefits and things. So anyway, so I've got the pork mince, some garlic and ginger in here so far. Got some Chinese greens, which I've just washed, and you can use any greens you like. So if you're growing silver beet, chard, spinach, kale, cabbage, wombok, any leafy green that you can think of, you can add to this. It's completely up to you. So here I've got some choy sum and not wombok, bok choy, which I'm just going to do a little chop just so I can fit it into my food processor. Now, you may see some recipes where they like to blanch the veg first, but I actually like cooking the veg raw with the whole mixture once you're cooking your dumplings, rather than having a blanched and half-cooked veg in the raw pork mince. I just find it makes it even juicier as well, and you get all the nice nutrients retaining in there. So this might take a couple of goes because it's only a little food processor I've got here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll move you over a bit. Here we go. Could not be bothered dragging out my KitchenAid and doing all the washing up of the big batch of parts that go along with the big food processor. So this will do, just roughly chopped up. guess one of the other reasons why I am not chopping this by hand is because I really need some new kitchen knives. My knives are rubbish. I've never invested or treated myself, even as a cook and a professional cook, to decent knives. I'm using these things that I bought from Springvale 10 years ago, and they sharpen up okay once you do give them a sharpen. But yeah, I really do need some better knives, and that is something I will invest in at some point. It'll make my life a lot easier, I'm sure. Now, you don't have to add veg to this if you don't want to, but I just think it just creates a nice balance. So you have your proteins from your meat, and I'm putting a couple of eggs in here as a binder as well. And then I'll also be adding the seasonings to it and some herbs. So I've got spring onion and some angled onion, which is a weed, but it's very similar to garlic chives as well. Now I'm not seeing... Oh, thank you, Matthew. Hello, nice to see you tuning in. Oh, I forgot the blade. You're distracting me, Matt. See if I can fit this in. Yes, so I've got some angled onion and spring onion. The angled onion, also known as onion weed, grows wild. And if you really can't be bothered sort of chopping up garlic or peeling garlic, just throw in a heap of angled onion. It has this beautifully subtle garlic flavour to it, and it's a really good replacement also for garlic chives if you can't find garlic chives, if your grocer doesn't have it or if it's not in season. So I've picked some angled onion here and some spring onion, whatever I could find from my garden. I've got these little chive things as well, so I'll just pick whatever I can and pop that into. So, you know, that's a nice handful there. So you've got the kilo of mince, a bunch of Asian greens, and now just a nice handful of herbs. They are herbs, aren't they? These probably would have been better hand chopped, to be honest, but it's okay. It's all going to end up mixed in anyway. There we go. And it's already smelling amazing, just from the herbs and the ginger and the garlic. Beautiful. So all of those will add to the aromatics to the dumpling and the wonton itself. All right, so into that you've got all your veggies and you've got your meat. I'm going to crack in a couple of eggs. 2 eggs here. These are beautiful free range eggs from Jindy Eggs. bit of a funny story the other week with the gindi eggs. The magpies had gotten to them all, and I found my whole tray of eggs completely gone and only just a few shells left. But Harley from Gindi Eggs, she's been amazing, and she's gone to such lengths to think about new packaging and things to rodent proof and bird proof the eggs, which wasn't expected at all, but it was my fault. I left them out on my porch for too long. But yeah, no, they've been absolutely amazing at repackaging everything. So this is where it gets a bit messy, and I'm actually going to grab some soy and sesame oil, which I forgot to bring over earlier. So you probably want to put about a tablespoon of soy and a teaspoon or so of sesame oil. You don't want it to be too much flavoured, because you're going to be cooking this in a broth as well, and the broth will have a fair bit of flavour also. Just a little drizzle here of sesame oil, so about a teaspoon I reckon. I'm actually going to put a dash of Chinese cooking wine into it also. It's very strong, so you don't need that much. So this is where I'm going to put on some gloves and give this a really good mix through. You can just use your fingers, like without your hands, without gloves, but I really don't like getting all the gunk under my nails. Oh, that's right, Heike. Greens are just, you know, they should be part of everyone's diet. And if you can mix them and hide them in for children who are fussy eaters as well, that's even a bonus. So my son Phoenix is a little bit more fussy than Paisley, and if I put minced up vegetables into things like dumplings, wontons, buns and that sort of stuff, he won't even notice he's eating it, and he loves it, absolutely loves it. To this you can also add some shiitake mushrooms, or any mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms are really nice, enoki, woody fungus, black fungus, that sort of thing. Really, really good to add whatever you like to this. Spinach is nice as well. So pretty much whatever you want to hide in here, you can. You can put carrot in here if you want. This is more of a traditional Shanghainese type of mixture, which is the leafy Asian greens and the pork mince. You can use turkey as well. Turkey works quite well. Chicken. Yeah, but I actually really like lamb mince. And if you use a fatter sort of a protein, so this mince here from Woolens Meats, it's got a beautiful balance of fat to meat ratio, whereas I find if you go too lean, sometimes it can taste a bit dry. So this is really quite nice. Like if you don't have Chinese cooking wine, you can completely leave it out, or you can use maybe a dash of white wine or rice wine sake. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can find it at any supermarket, so in the Asian section, it's not hard to get at all. So it's readily available, so I've never had to think about other options of what I would replace it with. This smells so aromatic already. So one thing which I learned last week, which I didn't know about, was that you can actually swipe the comments away so you can see the whole screen of what you're viewing. I had no idea. So for anyone watching, if you didn't know that, you can swipe the comments away and you can actually see what I'm doing here. Yes, pesto is so good for that, isn't it? So I might just add a teensy bit of salt to this too, I think. Now you can, before you start wrapping all your wontons, you can taste test the mixture. I just sometimes take off a little bit and fry a tiny bit in a frying pan, and that way you can gauge exactly what the flavors are like, if there's enough salt in there or not, if you need more of this or that, or a bit of white pepper was also nice, it's fun pepper too. Anyway, that's all mixed very, very thoroughly, so that is perfect. Now I'll show you guys how to wrap wontons. Might just quickly turn that water up actually. Alright, so here's the fun part. So I've got these wonton wrappers here. They're from Coles. I went to Woolies and they actually didn't have any. Woolies sell a different brand anyway, and you'll notice the colour's different. The ones at Woolies are normally white in colour, and the ones that Coles sell are yellow. The difference is food colouring. Really, that's pretty much it. Wheat, flour, water, tapioca starch, salt, preservative, colour, food treatment 300. I have no idea what that is. I do have a recipe to make your own wonton wrappers. If anyone is interested, I will post that recipe to make your own. And you would do it like you would pasta. It's an egg and wheat dough. And yeah, so you would make it as if you were making pasta. If you have a pasta machine, even better, because you can roll out your skins super thin. I need a bit of water. So one of the tricks to wrapping wontons is you need a tiny dish with a bit of water in there. So I'm hoping everyone can see how I'm doing this now. So I've got the wrapper in my hand and I'm placing a nice spoonful of filling in the middle. And all I'm going to do now is dip my finger in the water and trace around the outside of the wrapper. So just in a square, tracing around, and then folding, doing an envelope fold. So you're folding that bottom half over the top of your filling, and then the top half gets folded over like that. So it's all wrapped up in a bit of an envelope there. And then you've got the seam facing towards you. Little dip of water on that left corner. With the seam facing forward, all you do with the bottom corners here is just bring them together and press. And there you go, you have your beautiful little wonton. Although these aren't little, these are quite substantial. I hate dumplings and wontons and whatever else, buns, where it's just all dough and pastry and hardly any filling. So I like to pack a fair bit of the filling in. And so my girl, she'll eat 5 or 6 of these as a meal. Sometimes only 4 because they're quite filling and big. My son can eat 6 to 8. If I was eating these as a meal, I would eat 6 for me. But everyone's appetite is different. If you're looking at a very hungry, strong man, you might feed him 12 to 15. My young brother, he could easily eat 15 of these. He's 25 now. So again, we've got that envelope fold and you're just bringing that back corner to itself. Hi April, yeah, it does take a little bit of practice, and you'll see this is one class I love teaching in my dumpling making class. So you can book me for a one-on-one lesson or a group in-home lesson as well. I do offer that as a service. And we go through dumpling making and wrapping techniques and wontons as well. So, and different cooking methods too. So these were just boiling today. This is what I grew up with eating, and I love just a boiled wonton in a light broth. And you can steam these, deep fry even. If you were to deep fry them, oops, I think I got a little bit too enthusiastic with the amount of filling in that particular one. That's going to explode. We don't need that. So yes, I was saying, I think if you were to deep fry these, there would be a completely different wrapping technique. So this is one folding technique. I'll show you another one which my mum used to do, and she just used to whip them out in like seconds. She was so fast at it. So she'd pop the filling in the middle, and then she'll just do this. She would scrunch it up. I never had much luck doing that. So I'm just going to put some water around the outside of the filling. See how it goes. Scrunch it up like mum. I don't know. Not much luck there. That's how I imagine her doing it, every dumpling. Take the anger out on the wonton. Yeah, April, Ollie's 25. Can you believe it? He owns his own home. He's a radiographer now. Such a lovely young man. I'm so proud of my little baby brother. He's not a baby anymore. Makes me feel old. But yeah, so that's kind of like the scrunching method. This is what you would do if you were deep frying them. And they kind of like look like a money bag. That's what they call them, money bags. So that's one other method. I'll do 5 and then we'll go boil them up. So basically I'm just at the moment bringing up a pot of water to the boil, and you would place your wontons into rapidly boiling water for 5-ish minutes. Basically once they start floating to the surface, that's when they become ready and they're cooked and ready to serve up. And so from frozen, you're probably looking at about 10 minutes. And I don't know why my mum did this, but from frozen, she would cook them, bring them to the boil, and then once they were boiling, she'd add a cup of cold water in. And she'd say to me, like, once that water comes back up to the boil a second time, that's when they're ready. I mean, I guess it's just to make sure that they're completely cooked and defrosted on the inside. So it's not bad advice, I guess. So yeah, there we go. So we've got the wontons there. I'm just going to wash my hands. I'll bring you guys over to the stove. Flip you around. So all you want to do is just give your water a bit of a stir. Drop them in. Try not to stick your fingers in at the same time. I have a bad habit of doing that. Give that a stir as well, just so they don't stick to the bottom. We'll let that come up to the boil. So what we will do now is make our broth. Yes, okay, that's all I need. So for the broth, I'll show you what I'm doing. Hi Belinda, how are you? So I've just got my bowl, and this is like the super easy cheats version of making broth. If you've got some chicken stock powder, or you can use veggie stock, whatever stock you want it to use really. I like to use the Marcel brand because I find it's more neutral with Asian flavors. So, and it doesn't contain MSG or animal products in there. It's all natural. But it is the cheats version. If you make your own broth or stock, even better. But for a quick, lazy, easy dinner, this is perfectly fine. So actually, last time I tried to buy some stock powder, they only had the cubes. That was when everything was in short supply and no one could get anything. So normally I buy the powdered stuff that comes in the can. So I'm just trying to crush up the stock cube there. Another thing that you can do, just another tip for anyone who loves 2-minute noodles. I was so addicted to 2-minute noodles. I just loved them all. And I would save the seasoning inside, and I just cook the noodles and for the kids or whatever, and use some other stock powder. I would cheat and save the stock seasonings and that in the noodle packets for myself, and so I saved them, and I use that to make the broth for my wontons sometimes as well. So I've just added a little bit of sesame oil into the bowl, and I'm going to add a dash of soy as well, and this is what will turn your regular stock powder into an Asian broth. Having the soy, having the sesame oil will make it more Asian-y. Belinda, I don't have the recipe for this on my page yet. I will post the recipe for the wonton wrappers on the Guide to Cardinia page, and yeah, I'll write like a quick write-up of the steps involved as well. So here I've just got some bean shoots, and these are ones that I've grown myself. And I'm just adding that to the bottom of the bowl. I've also got some pea shoots here, which I also grow. So I'm adding just a bit of that to the bowl. Probably too much in here, but it does wilt down. And then I've also got some lovely coriander, which I also grow. I love growing all my greens and micro herbs and things like that. Just a little bit of that. So in the bowl I've got the chicken stock powder, some soy, some sesame oil, some sprouts, and then we're just going to simply add the wontons into here and ladle in some of the hot water, and then that's the meal done. So let's go and have a look at how the wontons are going. There we are, they're all floating now. So at this point, I'm just going to spoon some of this hot water over the ingredients in the bowl. Give that just a little bit of a mix. Make sure all that stock powder's dissolved. I can probably turn that off now. You can add some chili to this if you like. I know I will be adding chili to mine. I'm cooking this for my little girl at the moment. My son is having some lasagna, which he defrosted out of the freezer yesterday, and he didn't eat it yesterday, so I said, you've got to eat it today. So he can have wontons tomorrow. And there we go. There's our bowl of wonton soup. It's very hot. You can add some noodles to this in the bottom if you liked as well. And just going to sprinkle a little bit of toasted sesame seeds on top. How beautiful does that look? Maybe a couple more herbs for garnish, and that is your wonton soup ready to go for dinner. So thank you so much to everyone for watching tonight. It's relatively simple and easy to make. It does take a bit of time to fold and wrap all your wontons, but once you've got that down, smash it out, sit in front of the TV, watch a movie, put some music on, whatever. Get those wontons made and prepared, pop them in the freezer, and you've got dinner in 10 minutes on a busy night. So thank you everyone for watching, and if you do have any questions, feel free to message me, Natasha Varagushin. You can find me on my page, Tash Can Cook. And I do offer one-on-one and group cooking lessons as well. So if you need a little extra hand with folding techniques and that sort of thing, feel free to contact me. And hope everyone has an awesome night. Bye. 再见. Trying to figure, oh, finished. There we go. I think I would have done this before, but